gosh right now because we are doing the 40-day countdown with the memories of WAPN. If you don't know what I'm doing and you're listening, you're going, well, what is she doing? You can send me a video file, 386-316-8054, or you can come live if you're in Volusia County like I've got somebody live with me right now. Can you say who you are and what are you doing with yourself these days?
Well, hello there, WAPN family. This is Wiley Lowe, and it is a pleasure to be back with you. I've had a long-standing history with this wonderful radio station.
I was trying to think, how many years has it been?
Shortly after the Ark landed and the
we're
door
29.
opened.
How was that? Gosh.
You do not want lightning to strike the station today. We will not discuss our age. I have been a minister in our area, I guess, for about 38 years now.
Oh, my gosh.
And I am currently doing community chaplaincy. My doctorate is in grief recovery, so I work with people at times of extreme loss and need. Mm-hmm. And I say it with such a light hand because the moment you begin talking about such things, you can trigger difficult memories for people. But when there are the very difficult deaths, the murders, the suicides, the tragic car accidents, the things that really do impact in such a way that even clergy have a hard time getting near that, that's when I often step in.
So you're the trauma ones.
Well, yes.
Grief is trauma.
That is exactly right. You are so right on target. And I mean, I work with every family. I've probably officiated over 900 funerals.
Oh, my gosh.
And my undergraduate degree is from Lipscomb University in psychology and Bible. My master's degree is from Liberty University in counseling, and my doctorate is in grief recovery from Liberty University. And it is my privilege and honor to work with people at times of loss. But I also do weddings, as you know, as you've had a wedding world in your family, because you've had folks that are in that wonderful business.
Well, you married my daughter and my son-in-law, so
it's all absolutely wonderful. And I love being there for people at the best of times and the most difficult of times. But having been a minister in this area for so long and being a part of the WAPN family for many years doing prayer line. And that was always such a great gift because of the number of people that you encounter that they don't have anyone else to pray for them.
Totally. Isn't it weird? I think that everybody always has somebody to pray for them. And then you do prayer line and you realize we are a lifeline.
That is absolutely correct. And I think there is such a sense of family at WAPN. And that's not what you find everywhere. I mean, this is a place that's not exclusionary. When you call in here, when you are a part of this family, even as a listener, because this is really a two-way conversation. People can call in and talk, but even just being able to listen right now, you're a part of this family. You belong here. You're in the right place. You're at the right channel. You're going to get uplifted today, which is not what you always get, even coming into religious circles. So we want to make sure that every person, wherever you are, we're offering the bread and fish like Jesus did, and everyone's invited to that table.
Do you know we actually have a prayer line available on Fridays from 12 to 1? It came available a couple months ago, and it's still available, which is very weird, because when you were on years ago, it was like if you could get a prayer line 12 to 1, it was a shocker.
That's exactly right, because that is prime drive time. People are heading to lunch, and often when you're at work, you have been worn down, either by your fellow employees.
I love that you're talking about this, because me and Yvonne last night were trying to think of a new way to talk about prayer line, like, fill it up during prayer line, something, a catchphrase. We haven't come up with it yet, but you know what I'm saying? And you're exactly right. People take their lunch around prayer line.
They do, and you want something positive. Sometimes when you've been bombarded, sometimes even in places of business, you have a radio that's playing, and it's supposed to be uplifting, but you don't realize how often even sometimes just simple secular stuff can begin to wear you out, and you want something that nourishes the spirit, and that's what WAPN has been about. That's your mom and dad, when they founded this radio station, they wanted something uplifting, and they were two of the most uplifting people I think I've ever encountered.
Can you believe yesterday was 13 years for my mom?
Nope. I the other day I started to wave because a white Camaro with orange stripes went by.
Oh my goodness, really? Where?
It was here in town. It was passing through, and I immediately thought it was. And then I stopped, and I could just feel it behind my eyes, and I went, "Has it really been that long?"
Yep, I know. Yesterday, I try not to think of the day.
Did you see that? I can't
try
help
not
it.
to think of the day, you know, and it's been 13 years. My dad's been 20, and people go, Shelley, you get emotional still.
Oh, I can remember going upstairs. If you have not been upstairs here,
The upper room,
the upper room with the white leather sofas and being...
they're no longer there.
No, don't tell me this. I need to hold that in my
Okay,
head because
okay.
I'm talking about the way it was when Mom and Dad
Yeah.
were here. And again, welcome. I was a young minister, and the faith and confidence to allow me to come in as I was, and that's one of the things that WAPN 91.5 does, is it takes you where you are. And who I am now is a far different person in knowledge and education and experience.
And just think of the things, though, that we've did over the years because of your knowledge, education, experience. When we've had crisis in the world, me and you came together and talked about it. When you've had the candlelight visuals for people that are going through grief and the
Absolutely.
holidays. When the whole thing happened in Orlando with all the deaths, we came in and talked about it. I mean, we've come in and talked about some moments in history, and we're able to guide people through those moments.
And I don't think people realize the large shut-in population, either by choice or by calamity or by health, that this is a lifeline for people who can't get out. There are folks in assisted living. There are folks who maybe have no family in the world, no one to call when something goes wrong. And this is a place where they can call and say, would you pray for me? And it's not just a note sent in somewhere, that there are real people that genuinely care. And that's why this is more than a station. It is a family, and that sense of belonging is powerful. It is support. It is what people are looking for in their lives, to not feel like they're walking it alone.
See, I can imagine, because you did prayer line for many years. And Miss Sandy, is she still around? Remember, she would come in and answer the phones? Because back in the day, you
Sandy
had to
passed
write.
away. She did.
When? Because I saw her like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it seems like.
that's about the time she had gone through a health crisis and she passed. So that is one of those. I was just thinking of Sandy the other day because she had been my secretary for many, many years.
And she would come in here, remember, and that's when you had to answer the
100%.
phones and write the prayer
Oh,
request
my
down.
goodness.
If you didn't want to go live, she would write them all down.
That was exactly right.
And that was our time together. I just loved
But see,
her.
that's just it. It's family. You get to meet people, know people. And I remember there were folks that would call in and they would be apprehensive to say, would you pray for, remember the parrot?
Yeah.
We had a sick parrot. We had dogs and cats and every critter under this. I'm looking at the beautiful artwork of Noah's Ark behind you, and I'm thinking, well, we prayed for all those animals.
And you know what? Because a lot of people, they don't have children or family, and that is their family.
And no one cares that their animal is sick, or people would make fun of the fact if you called in to have somebody pray for your dog. I have 6 cats.
I know you do. I don't
what
know
I'm
how you
saying?
do it. I'd be so allergic at your house.
Well, I'm leaving some of my cats with you
I
today.
know.
just
I'm
by
like,
shaking
okay.
my shirt
I
out.
took medicine before you came because I know how many cats you have.
Well, I think that people, you and I both, we have people that deeply love us in our lives. And if there is something going, you've listened to my problems, and I have.
Well, I was thinking, and I'm going to interrupt you.
Please.
The day my brother-in-law died, me and you were together.
That's right.
We were upstairs.
That's right. This is family.
That's what I'm saying. We were here doing something else, and my brother-in-law had been teetering.
Yes.
And while we were upstairs, I got the call. I'll never
It almost
forget.
sounds biblical. We were in the upper room when the message
I
came
know.
from afar. And that's where you wish we were in that moment.
But I'm thankful that you were here for me that day.
100%.
And it's so, because he went in for a weird surgery and found out he was full of cancer. And I mean, it went south really quick. And I would have been totally alone here in this building. And he was very important to me, And so I was so thankful God had you here that day.
Me too. Me too. And that's what we try to do for all of the folks that are out there that are part of the WAPN family. And we don't use that word lightly. I think one of the reasons, to answer another part of your question, why am I here, is because there is such a local focus. Everything is so commercialized now that the big entities are buying up the small mom and pop businesses. And when you turn into a radio station, you don't know if you're listening to a local program or something that's broadcast, from somewhere else that knows nothing about the community. But this is such a locally focus. Now, yes, you have a national, international reach,
Right.
global reach now, but this is at the heart of Holly Hill, the greater Daytona Beach area. And supporting WAPN, whether it, there's there are people that give donations, there are people who pray for it, there are people who rally together to help it. I think it's because you are investing in community. And it's not something for zillions of miles away. This is local, it's homespun, and the people here know you.
We've been out in the community at our worst moments, and people will
right.
come up to us and say, I know your voice, or aren't you part of that station, or whatever. And it really makes you feel special. And, I love it when God does that.
Shelley, I was in a hospital. And we were in the emergency room, and of course, it's divided by all the curtains. And when I came in, I remember there was somebody that was splayed out in that bed. We didn't know what was going to happen, and I began talking. And someone said, Wiley? And I thought, family, friends, whatever. And it wasn't. They recognized the voice.
Yep.
From here, because they were so used to hearing this every day at noon when they tuned in to Prayer Line, that they recognized the voice. And I think that's probably one of the greatest honors, is somebody knowing you vicariously. Your reach, Shelley's reach, is far beyond this physical address. And WAPN's is far beyond this transmitter, now that it can be around the world. And it's a voice of faith and hope and love.
And, I had that happen to me recently. It happens to me like maybe just every month. But the other day, Tim was going in for some emergency surgery. And I went up to the window, and I'm sure this lady might be listening, and she blessed me. She cannot believe how much she blessed me. Here I'm stressing out about my husband, and they're getting ready to take him back. And she said, are you staying? Are you going? I said, I can't leave. When he's in surgery, I can't leave. And she goes, can I have your name and your number in case you, walk out the door or something for a minute? And I said, I'm Shelley. And then I gave her my phone number, and she goes, you're Shelley? And I thought, I'm Shelley. And she goes, you were praying for your husband this morning on the radio station. I called in for a prayer line when my husband was in a bad motorcycle accident. Everybody every day was praying for him, and he is healed now. And I thought, that was like God wrapped his arms around me, gave me a big old hug, and said, this is going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I'm part of Prayer Line. He did it for that man. He's going to make sure my husband's okay.
How often do I physically get to see you? It's interspersed because both of us...
It's 3 or 4 times a year easily, but yeah, it's weird.
But how often do I get to hear you?
Anytime you want.
That's exactly right. And I think one of the reasons, to answer your question of why I support, why I'm a part of the WAPN family, is there is a daily spiritual nourishment that somebody can have access to, somebody local that cares about them, that will pray for them.
And then go visit.
And if they wanted to, they could visit. And there are sermons that they may never walk into a church. They may never walk into a place of worship to be able to hear, but they can hear different perspectives, different voices, without offense. I mean, there's going to be a lot of different tastes, a lot of different varieties of people.
And that's what my dad wanted, an a la carte radio station, like a smorgasbord, That's what he wanted.
And you also, if you're driving in your car and you're listening to a sermon, it's always fun that if you go, I definitely agree with that. Or something makes you go, I don't know if she got that right or he got that right. I'm going to go look that up. Wow. Did we encourage you to study your Bible? Did we encourage you to look at the Bereans, to study the Word daily? Even the apostles would talk about how the people would check to see if what they were doing were right. They would go search the Scriptures. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be the fuel to get people to spiritually grow. And you can't force it. You can't grab a plant that's growing out of the ground, even the youngest seed, and expect to make it grow. You'll uproot it. And how many times have people been uprooted because they walked into a place, they're exploring their faith, and then suddenly it's like, I'm going to cull you like a weed.
Oh, they get offensive over anything, And I always say, when somebody hits seek on their dial in their car, they're seeking for Jesus.
And they land. I mean, I did it when on the way here. My radio station is locked to whatever the car originally was on, and I did that scan, and it suddenly popped up to WAPN, and I listened all the way here, and I'm thinking, you know what? There are people right now that don't know what they have. Because this is local, it is spiritual, it is nurturing, and it wants to give back. I mean, everybody's looking to take something. This is a station that's always looking to give. And that spiritual growth of the sermons, the teachings, the discussions that take place, it's
the
only...
pizzas that we brought when you had a hurricane and we delivered pizzas to your
right.
neighborhood.
That's exactly right.
The 500 pairs of shoes we gave away recently, the Bibles that we give away. Anytime you need a Bible, you can call here and we'll give you a free Bible. I mean, there's a list that people do. I'm not a normal radio station. I don't want to be ever normal.
Oh, no one has ever accused you of
I
being
know.
But you know, Shelley, one of the things, too, is that there's a lot of times people cannot get out to worship.
Yep.
And this is a place where the music... I mean, have you ever just cried listening to one of the songs that hit you? Mm-hmm. Or you're listening to a sermon that you couldn't get to the church? Don't tell me. Where two or more are gathered, there are sometimes thousands of people gathered listening around the fire, if you will, of WAPN.
Well, remember when COVID happened and the churches they shut down, and then what we did is we made it like a drive-in at the church. You all went to church, you turned on WAPN, and we played the service. So it was kind of cool. And I know they could have been at home listening to 91.5, but the churches said, no, come and make it like a drive-in church so that we're all together and we'll all hear it on 91.5. And it was the neatest concept to do that. And I was like, we can make it happen. And we did, because there was a need.
And another reason I'm a part of the WAPN family is the conversation. Because there's a lot of radio stations, even wonderful Christian radio stations, that are constantly doing music, and that is fantastic. But sometimes, often, we want to pause and hear the conversations. And talk radio is probably one of the most successful forms of radio now, because you can get music anywhere. I can, your phone, you can ask it to play anything, anytime, anywhere. You can Bluetooth it, you can stream it. But where do you get live content that you can be a part of by simple phone call?
Yep.
And the world is constantly offering its pablum, its diet of what it wants you to believe. This is a place where you have alternative, spiritual, godly content, uplifting content, nurturing content. You're not going to find anybody tearing you down here. It's all uplifting. You go to the world, they'll often tell you you're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too young, you're too old. And no matter what you choose, there's somebody telling you it's not right. And here, we tell you you're in the right place. You're a part of the family. We want you here. We care about you. And your voice and your needs are important to us.
I love it. I just love it. So do you have a memory besides upstairs in the upper room of WAPN?
Oh, my goodness. I think it is the times that it has rallied, when it looked like the darkest of times. Maybe it's the tower that needed attention. Maybe it's a lightning strike. Maybe it is a fundraiser. I remember when the crystal water guy, he came close to death. Yeah. And, where do you get that many people to pray? There are moments that go, and that's like, what 20 years ago? That it still sticks with me. You ask a question with it, and it's just suddenly you go, it's moments like that.
I still reach out to him.
Who remembers the guy that delivers the water? I mean, everybody knows the Amazon guy showing up at the house and dropping a package. You know the face. Do you know the name? Do you know the story? Do you pray for them?
Well, it's funny because when they come here, I invite them in. And I always say, can I get you a cold drink or a snack? And they go, what? And I go, there's always a restroom here for you to use. And there's always a snack and a cold drink. And they go, really? And I go, yeah. And they look at me like I'm a weirdo. And I go, no, I appreciate you. You're out running as fast as you can run, delivering heat, snow, rain, whatever, and I appreciate you. How hard is it to thank somebody and appreciate them?
So I think, to answer your question, it is the fact that at WAPN, you see the people. I mean, there's something as sightless as radio, but
that is true.
But it is a greater vision than, I've worked in television, and there are people that don't see the people around them.
Right. I like that. That's very true.
Radio is often considered sightless because it's just audible, yet you see the people.
Well, this is a weird thing, but like, you do funerals. You've
a lot.
did a lot of my friends and people I know and acquaintances and stuff. And it's kind of strange when I say this out loud, but when you do one, I feel like you're part of that family.
100%.
Right. I just don't know how you do it, because some people I don't think you've met before, but when you do it, it's like you were.
The majority I have not met in person outside of a hospice call.
Right. And every time I leave one, I feel like you were at their table. You know what I'm saying? Doing
100%,
life
yeah.
with them. And that's how I wanted this to look like a kitchen table in here when we had the flood in here and we had to get all new equipment and it was overwhelming. And my only thing I wanted was a kitchen table. And everybody's like, what is so big? Why is that so important to you? And I said, because I was raised that we all
Around
eat
the
dinner
table.
together every night. No matter what, you had to be at that dinner table. And I wanted WAPN, when people came in here, they wanted to start the conversation.
And what is one of the most famous scenes in all of Scripture is the Last Supper. It's gathered around a table. And the only thing he asked, because, there's all the miracles and all the things that revolve around food and gatherings, was as oft as you come together, do this in remembrance of
And
me.
you know, my
it was
mom
around a table.
visited the table
Isn't that
right
amazing?
before she died.
In the upper room.
The hospice had told me, now your mom's a very, spiritual woman, Proverbs 31 woman. So she's going to have a little bit of struggle because of course she wants to go to heaven, but she doesn't want to leave you guys. So she's going to have like a little struggle. So you can either go with her or it's going to cause her anxiety. And I was like, well, I'll go with her. Now, I don't know what go with her meant, but I'll go with her.
Of course you would.
I remember this one day, and like I said, it was just yesterday was the anniversary. So it would have been like 4 days ago, 13 years ago. My mom, when I was leaving, she was still audible at that point. She wanted pumpkin pie. And I said, okay, Mom, I'll go home and make you one. And she goes, no, I don't want you to make me one. You don't have time. Because, it takes a while. And I thought, it's August. Where am I going to get a pumpkin pie, right? So the next day, I thought, she'll forget about it. So I'm driving to her house, and I passed by my favorite grocery store, and I hear God say, go in. And I thought, okay. So I go in, and there's a mini pumpkin pie in the deli. You could have heard me scream, miles. I grabbed it, put it in the cart, and I thought, she's not even going to remember. I get there, and Dennis and Denise Brooks were there also visiting my mom because we allowed whosoever to come over. And my mom said, do you have my luggage? And I go, yes, Mom, I do. She goes, come on. And she says, put it over there. And I said, okay. She goes, isn't this just beautiful? And she starts naming people at the table, right? And I'm like, and she goes, all the food. And I'm like, oh, Mom, it's so beautiful. And she goes, can we go to the dessert table first? Because if you knew Erlene, she wanted dessert.
Absolutely. It's where you go first. Life is too short.
So I said, yes. And God said, go put the pumpkin pie on your finger and rub it on her mouth. And I did. And she says, isn't this wonderful that we get to be part of this? And she's just in awe, and she's naming things and just in awe, right? And then she says, don't forget to get Denise some. And I said, okay. And then she came back. But for those moments, I got to be with my mom at the table. And I thought, how fitting, because I grew up at the table. And one of my last memories was at the ultimate table.
You couldn't physically go with her to where she was going, but for a moment, she gave you a glimpse.
Yep.
Of
and
the
in the
vision
peace and the comfort.
that passes all understanding.
Unbelievable. And I will carry that with me forever. Forever.
Well, until you see her again.
Yes.
And, there's going to come
But
a
then
day.
I still will carry it because I'll say, I found pumpkin pie that day.
It's going to be one of the greatest moments. I don't want to leave the world anytime sooner
No.
than I have to, nor do I want you to.
We got too much work yet.
You better believe it. And when that time comes, knowing that she'll be at the table waiting for you. Mm-hmm. And I know it's not going to be today or tomorrow, but that train doesn't stop. And one day when it does.
And there is no time in heaven.
No, not at
So
all.
even though I have the problem with the dates and the anniversaries and stuff, and that's just because I love them so dearly. And I think because I come to their business every day and, work it is why it's sometimes harder for me also because I live it every day. But there will be no time. When I get there, she'll just say, hey, Shell, and it will just be like.
Well, the anniversary is such a powerful thing. But remember, grief is the price of love. The only way for you not to have grief is to not love her.
Well, then
Sorry.
I'll be grieving every day then.
I think you're supposed to. Mm-hmm. It changes. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. The grief that you're still feeling today after 13 years, if you try to expunge all of that, you can't. It would take away your memories, your moments, those times around the table.
Well, I think of how you honored your mom.
I tried.
You totally did. You had her dressed so perfect and all the roses. I've never been to a service where the casket had all the roses.
Mom was a simple girl that probably just wanted a quilt and a pine box, but she was a princess that day. We put her on a bed of 100 white roses dyed blue.
It was amazing.
And it was, I hate to say selfishly, it was for me.
And that's okay.
It is okay, absolutely. Our rituals that we need to go through to give honor, and Lindsay here in town, Roberts, she provided a dress, and I said, "Let me buy this dress," and she donated and it was beautiful. It was white satin, and these memories are comforts because you and I, when we're praying for people, when we're gathered around, your mom even did it for you at her own passing, was to create the last memory of the last moment.
Yep.
And your mom, instead of you helping for her to have that moment to be, and you did with the pumpkin pie, but she gave it back to you.
Totally. And I think that's why I love what I do here in this community.
Because it wasn't a death scene. It was a life scene around the table. And that's a gift.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
She was still giving gifts to the very last.
Totally. I mean, like when you told me the Camaro story at the beginning of this conversation, I have the miniature one. I had the toy one.
Yeah.
And I will,
because that was a limited edition.
I know, and I will not part with that toy one because they got it when she got that, and I have it in my office, and I look at it sometimes, and I giggle about one time she backed up over the curb and messed up the bottom of it, and then she had to tell Gordy.
Her running joke, my joke with her was she's the only person I knew that if someone wished them Godspeed, she could attempt it.
I know.
In that car.
Oh, well, remember, she let me borrow it one time, and I had to go to Tampa in it, and she told me as I was getting in the car, the angels leave you if you overdo the speed limit. And so I drove the speed limit the whole time, and I'm thinking, here was my big moment to finally be, really cool. Nope, she blew it.
She was looking out after you.
I know. Well, it's been great having you here and sharing
Always.
memories, and we'll do it again.
What a pleasure. Anytime you